I got a question for you guys. Do you know what Greg Cadillac Anderson said once he got drafted?
What do you say?
He
What?
said, I never dreamed I would be drafted, but I always dreamed I would be drafted.
I'm about to get mine and it's about time. Call us Grindhouse, everybody in a house grind. I'm just doing me, I ain't trying to outshine. Trying to kill my vibe is how you get outline.
What's up, y'all? It's October 28th, 2025, and we are back with the Hoopstorians. Sorry for the hiatus. My area, we got hit with a called a microburst, which would be like a tornado / hurricane. For those that don't know, so we've been MIA for a few weeks. But let's get into this day in NBA history. I'm actually going to go back through 3 days in NBA history. This day in NBA history in 2009, 2003, and 1983 is the debut of Clyde Drexler, Dwayne Wade, Steph Curry, and James Harden. All made their debut on an October 28th today. If you want to add a fifth player as well, that's some notable DeMar DeRozan. We'll just go with the 4 guys that have seen more success. I got 2 questions for you guys. Jules, we'll go with you first. If you had to rank those 4 guys in order, Harden, Curry, Drexler, and Wade, how would you rank them? And if you had nobody on your team and you were drafting them, you looked at their skill set, who would you want to build around?
Ooh, that's actually really interesting. So my rankings off the top of my head, it goes Curry, Wade, Harden, and then Drexler. And if I had to draft them just based off skill set, I think I would probably go Harden first, then Wade, then Steph, then Drexler, personally.
So I have the same. You said, yeah, it'd be Curry, Wade, Harden, Drexler is how I'd rank them all time in terms of who I'd want to draft. Just knowing their skill set, it's really difficult because I know Steph Curry's probably is the lowest drafted player in that group. He was drafted 7th overall. Minnesota famously took Johnny Flynn and Ricky Rubio before him when they needed a point guard. James Harden, I believe, was drafted 3rd overall out of Arizona. And Wade was drafted 5th overall, 4th overall out of Marquette. I don't remember where Clyde Drexler was drafted, to be honest with you. But I would say if I wanted a skill, if we're saying like their skill sets, are we talking about like what they're like in their prime? If it's
I'm saying just to let you know, though, Drexler was drafted 14th. But if you
fair enough.
If you just know how they play, what it takes to win, what to build around them, and all that, how would you build your team? Those 4 players, you got nobody on your team. Those 4 players are sitting on the board. How you drafting? How you building?
I would say Steph Curry. Then Wade, then Harden, then Drexler. Just knowing what I know about Steph Curry, the way he's, his dynamic playmaking and 3-point shooting, his playmaking, I think, is a bit overrated. But the way, if we know the way he can elevate an offense to the absolute highest ceiling possible in the NBA and NBA history, it'd have to be Steph Curry. The way he can warp the dimensions of the court has proven to be one of probably the most valuable thing of the last decade. So I would probably say Steph Curry. Then I'd say Dwayne Wade. At his absolute peak, I would say 2009 or 2006. I go 2009 as the absolute height of his powers. Was an elite rim pressure. Was one of the best rim pressurers at the shooting guard position, maybe other than Michael Jordan. Was one of the best defenders at the 2-guard position. Maybe better than Michael Jordan, but he's up there with Michael Jordan as one of the best defenders at the 2-guard position for being a 2-way player, we'll say. I think I think he was also a pretty underrated playmaker. That year averaged 2009 30 points on great efficiency, 7.5 assists, and also a good rebounder. So I would say Dwayne Wade's number 2. Then I would say James Harden again. The way he can carry an offense, the way he can ceiling raise and carry an offense. I think he had such a grip on the NBA for 3 years, literally changed the game and how fouls were called because people were playing behind him in order to not foul him. People were playing with their hands tied behind their back to not play James Harden. Obviously led historically great offense in 2018 64-win team MVP here. Some people say LeBron should have won that MVP. I say hell no, not even close. And then Clyde Drexler, I would say, is last. I know Clyde Drexler, again, is a great two-way player at his peak. I think his highest 27 points per game scorer could lead his team to 2 finals, which is valuable as well. But I think he really, I think he really excelled in that Rockets run, averaging 21, 10, and 5, having a 40-point closeout game. So in that 95 run to the championship. So that's the order I'd go with, and those are the reasons why.
Well, that was this day in NBA history. All right, so we got we're going to continue with our top 80 of all time. This year we're doing 75 through 70. We eliminated Bill Sharman, right, in the last one.
We eliminated Bill Sharman, and you also lobbied to eliminate Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah, so well, I'm just counting on my list. Okay, so let's all go through. Let's start off with Hoops. Who do you got at number 75 all time?
It's tough for me at 75 because I feel like we're still in kind of we're in this range where you get people that don't necessarily have it as the best player on their team like a championship level impact on winning in terms of winning a title, but still have, I think, a high peak or a long prime or a consistent a pretty consistent floor for what they produce. So it's at 75, I have Chris Webber. The reasons, I know Chris Webber's his playoff moments, some of his playoff moments are pretty bad. He's not a great playoff performer. I know he does underachieve for really his expectations as the number 1 overall pick out of Michigan, the Fab 5 team, and he has some issues in Golden State and Washington, still an all-star in Washington, perennial all-NBA player, and I think a top 5 player in the world, at least in Sacramento. He's a solid, I think, 20, he's like 25, 10, 20, 27 and 11, best player on a 62-win team, which many believe is a top 5, 3 to 5 ringless team of all time, the Sacramento Kings. It took Peja Stojakovic being injured and a reffing scandal in order for the Lakers to barely eke out that victory in the 2002 conference finals. We might be talking about him a little bit differently. So, I get even after then, it's not great. It's in a stint with the Philly where he's fairly productive. I think he has a decent year in Sacramento, but after 03, but at that point, Page is the best player on his team. But I still think it's a good enough prime. I still think it's a good enough peak. And I think being a part of that 62 in Sacramento team is enough for me to put him at 75.
Hey, you also forgot that shot by Samaki Walker that added the lights lighting up behind the backboard when the shot goes in after the buzzer now, too. So that also happened in that series in favor of the Lakers, too.
That same playoff run, actually, it was that and Baron Davis, who hit if you remember, Baron Davis, when they were playing the Magic, it was when he was playing for the Hornets, 0.4 of a second left. He took the shot. He was deep in 3. He took a shot. It went off the backboard and in. It was to win the game, but the ref had already blown the play dead as soon as he touched the ball because he thought there was no way Baron Davis could get the shot off. But when they replayed it, they showed that he did. Eventually, the Hornets did win in overtime. Thank God, the team that was supposed to win won. But that was also another reason why they did it.
Gotcha. Jules, who do you got at 75?
So I had Chris Webber a little bit higher, and I know Hoops and I off screen actually debated about Chris Webber. So you're a little bit lower than him than I am, and I thought I was low on him. I have Alonzo Mourning here at 75. I think Alonzo Mourning, when that initial top 100 out came this summer, and I saw him lower than said Dikembe Mutombo, I freaked out. I think Alonzo Mourning is very underrated because I think his prime, those Hornets years are completely unbelievable, and he's unfortunately underrated because we've also talked about this, Tony, is that if he was a rookie in literally almost any other year, he probably won one Rookie of the Year. He has an unbelievable Rookie of the Year on those Hornets teams, and he's getting up like a pretty decent job of going against, I believe, that Knicks team in the early 90s when Larry Johnson goes out in a game. I believe it's that game either 2 or 3 in that first half, and he ends up coming back. But Alonzo Mourning then goes to the Heat with, and they eventually get Tim Hardaway, makes the Eastern Conference Finals against the Bulls, and obviously loses that. But he's still a key contributor even after when he gets he has the the kidney or what I forget what happens to him off the top of my head. Yeah, it's the kidney. And he ultimately obviously wins the title with the Heat, but he's not the same type of player, but he's still a key contributor in my opinion to that Heat team later on. And we've also talked about him deserving that 99 MVP that I think he was robbed of. To me personally, I think he was the best player in in that lockout striking season. He has multiple all defensive teams, depoys, all this kind of stuff. I think he should be here at 75 because, like I said, Chris Webber to me is a little bit higher.
So I actually have Webber lower than both of you guys, but I do have Zoe at 75. I think his run 99 to 01, he's got 2 top 3 MVP finishes. That 99 season is damn near as good as you want. All defensive first team, all NBA first team, depoy, and then, second in MVP voting. That was the only one that kind of stopped it. That year against the Knicks, he's 24-10-3. His first year in Charlotte, 21-10 and 4 blocks with a playoff appearance leading the team. So, I mean, if you guys got hot, because I have Sharman in my 70-75, but, obviously there's no place for him now. So, I mean, I got no problem moving Webber higher, and then we lock it in with Zoe at 75. We think, Webber needs
I actually had Zoe. I mean, I'm fine with that. I had Zoe at 69. I was going to say the same things. I think Zoe was the best defensive player in the league for a while. Like, that was valuable to me. Best player on a 60-win team. Obviously, this is the Bulls. I don't think it plays particularly well in that series either, but I don't think anybody does.
Right.
And Depoy over Shaq. Rob Shaq of the perfect season, right? Wins Depoy over him. Because he's averaging like 4 blocks per game, 2 straight years of averaging 4 blocks per game. Probably should have been the MVP. And finishes second to Karl Malone, which is one of the worst bottom 3 MVP awards of all time in Karl Malone. So even in the Hornets, his rookie year with the Hornets, he ends Kevin McHale's career. Kevin McHale famously said, because I think they ended him in 4 games of a 5-game series. Yeah, and Kevin McHale famously said afterwards, I wanted to go out in Boston Garden. I wanted to go out as a Warrior, but Alonzo Mourning's giving you like 24 and 11 that series. And I think it's a shot, right? He hits a game-winning shot.
Yeah, series winner at the buzzer.
Yeah, he hits the series winner at the buzzer. So, turns the Hornets into perennial playoff team, turns the Heat into a contender, obviously contributes, to 06 after his stint with the Nets, which isn't that impressive. But yeah, I had Mourning at 69, so I'm okay with putting him in that range. It's 75.
I mean, yeah, either or, however you guys want to do it. I will say this about Chris Webber. Chris Webber, judging by his skill set, his body, he should have been the best power forward of all time. 6'10" with the 7'3" wingspan. I mean, his passing ability, out of the power forward position is second to none. I mean, he's long. He can block shots. He can steal. He can rebound. He can score in the post. He can score the jumper. He's not like a crazy athlete or whatever. But Chris Webber is such a disappointment. That dude should have been in the argument for the GOAT. You know what I mean? And he's not.
Yeah.
It's a mental thing. It's definitely a mental thing. So I don't know. However you guys want to do it. So we want to go Zoe at 75. We want to go Webber higher. What do we want to do?
If Jules and I have Webber, I have
whoever agrees with the got Zoe lower, and then
I've got
you guys just got Webber higher. So I don't know how you guys want to do it.
Yeah.
Jules, what's your argument for Webber over Zoe? How about we do that?
So I'm sorry, my Wi-Fi is kind of messed up. So why I put Webber over Zoe? I think his peak is a little bit just better in my opinion, because it's unfortunate that Alonzo Mourning is having to play in the era that he is, where a lot of people argue that the 90s centers are like one of the most dominant eras in NBA history. I personally disagree. I think it's like the 70s, but I think they're definitely up there when we talk about greatness. And Alonzo Mourning is essentially really put like at that, basically that last spot. You got, however you want to rank it, but I would do probably like Hakeem, D-Rob or Shaq, Ewing, and then Alonzo is fifth. When we talk about Chris Webber and we're talking about like the golden era of power forward, like Hoops said, that he's putting himself at least in a year where he's definitely within the top 5 players in the world. Now Alonzo does it too, but Chris Webber, I think, has that is leading to a little bit more playoff success, while Alonzo is being more playing stuff like, I don't know if it's second fiddle, but it's more like Tim Hardaway has a good game. He has good games, so it's more on and off. While I think the team structure in Sacramento is benefiting his skill set a little bit more, and Alonzo's skill set is being more being taken advantage of because he is a legitimate 16 to 18 foot jump shooter. But at the time, that's not even the most efficient shot. While Chris Webber's creating these off-ball actions with Peja and running these high pick and roll sets with Bibby and Doug Christie and all this kind of stuff. So I think, like you said, Tony, I think that skill set was definitely there. I just think he peaked a tiny bit higher than Alonzo Mourning. So that's why I would have Chris over him, but which is, again, funny because Hoops and I talked about Chris Webber off screen, and I didn't know. I thought I was lower than him than Hoops was. So.
Yeah, but what about Alonzo leading teams to like the #1 defensive rating that Webber didn't on the other side of the ball? Well, I would agree Webber's a better offensive player. I'd agree that Zoe's a much better defensive player, and he's leading the Heat to #1 defenses. You know, like the year they make the conference finals, that's a #1 defense.
So he has a #1 defense, but I think the Kings, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I believe for at least 2 years, maybe 3, they're still a top 5 defense. How long are the Heat doing
it? No, I only know the Heat for 1 year, 97, definitely had a top 5 defense. I know they were top 10 for like 5 years or something like that with Zoe. I don't know if the Kings ever had a #1 defense.
I know. Well, Chris Webber. I know Chris Webber definitely, at least within those few years, had a top 5 defense for sure. Because I was looking at those numbers the other day. But I know they're relatively within top 5, top 6, or 7 for multiple years. Because we think about them being an offensively minded team, but they're also equal. They had Vlade and Doug Christie and Mike Bibby being able to be these defensive guys. It kind of setting the roles for them, and Chris Webber not necessarily known for his defense, but I think he was being tasked to be a pretty good roamer for the time and being a secondary rim protector, creating defensive playmaking for that team to create fast break opportunities because of I think his outlet passing is somewhat underrated. We talked about his passing ability, so that's why again that defense leading into offense, and even with a Tim Hardaway with Alonzo Mourning, is more of half-court sets and not being really to create that defense, that #1 rated defense, into a transitional offense and take advantage of mismatches in the full court. It was more of half-court setting.
So in the interest of I think just moving along, I think we both have Tony and I have Mourning higher. We both have Webber on the list,
but I got him higher than Webber.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. And we both have them on the list. I think Webber at 75 is a good spot. I think
Webber at 70. I'm fine with Webber here, and putting Alonzo Mourning somewhere within these next 4 is fine.
Yeah, sure. So let's go Webber 75. Then do we want to lock in Zoe at 74? Let's see who's everybody got at 74.
Sure.
So who's everybody got at 74?
I had Carmelo Anthony, so I'll just move on. I'll just move on to Paul George. I have Paul George at 73. I think Paul George comes for a lot of abuse because of his podcasting career, but Paul George for, I think, about 15 years was a very productive, one of the better two-way players in the league. Obviously, earlier in his career with Indiana, is one of the best perimeter defenders in the league and part of one of the greatest defenses in NBA history. I think they're top 15 relative net rating in 13 and 14, takes the peak LeBron, peak Miami Heat team that won 66 games in 33 straight, 2-7 games, forces LeBron to play at the height of his powers in order to win that series. He's also, again, the following year goes to the conference finals again. Is a solid. He gets hurt, comes back, is still very good. 23-7-5, a great two-way player. He's top 5 in DPOY. At least 1 year. He also obviously has that great year in Oklahoma City where he is the best player on that team with Russell Westbrook, and he's third in MVP voting. All NBA first team. All NBA first team defense as well. All NBA first team defense as well. And I believe he's third in DPOY that year. So third in MVP, third in DPOY, like 28 points per game, leads the league in steals, right? And then he goes to LA. Obviously, they choke that series against the Nuggets in the bubble, but he comes back, leads the team to the conference finals without Kawhi Leonard, beats the 1 seed Jazz, and then takes the Suns to 6 games. Has a great playoff run there. From there, it doesn't look as good. From there, I think all of his injuries start to catch up with him. We see who he is now. It's not great, but I still think he's got a great, I think he's still got a very solid 15 years of being one of the best two-way players in the league. And so I have Paul George at 73.
Gotcha. Who do you got?
I have Paul George a lot higher, to be honest with you, because I'm a big Paul George guy. Everything that you said, I value a lot when it comes to Paul George, and especially taking that Heat team to 7. But my 74 is Artis Gilmore. Artis Gilmore being one of the more underappreciated centers during the time in the 1970s, winning MVP in the ABA. Unfortunately, never really is able to have postseason success in the ABA. But basically, as soon as he gets the ABA, he's winning MVPs over quite a decent talent pool, in my opinion, in the early ABA years. And then Artis Gilmore, I think, has some underrated longevity. I know that he kind of falls off when he gets into the NBA, but even when he gets traded to San Antonio for about a year and a half or 2, he's still a decent double-double guy. He's giving you around 3 to 4 blocks. Low post master. When we talk about sideburns, Tony on the side, he probably has the best sideburns ever, in my opinion. But I think Artis Gilmore, when he talks about old school, low post, defensive minded centers, he's one of the first people that comes to mind. And if we value the ABA, I do a bit. I think he should be within the top 75. I have him at 74.
So I actually got PG a little lower. I got Gilmore a little higher. So right now our options are: we have Zoe, we have PG, we have Gilmore. I got Damian Lillard at 74th. Where does everybody got Damian Lillard?
I have him a little bit higher. I have him at 70.
I had Lillard at 72.
Okay, so we can move Lillard out. You got George higher. So let's really go between Gilmore and Zoe then. Who you guys got with Gilmore and Zoe? I got Gilmore a little higher than Zoe overall, but you know what I mean. I'm not sold on it necessarily. What do you guys got?
I had Gilmore. I had Gilmore around 71. So
okay, so we all got Gilmore higher. Let's lock in Zoe at 74 then.
That's fine with me.
That's fine with me as well.
Higher. Okay, so you got George at 73. I had Sharman at 73, so I'm out on this. So we got Paul George for the argument on 73. We all had Damian Lillard a little hot. You guys had who do you got 73, Jules?
You're gonna kill me for this. I have Bill Walton here at 73.
Okay, I think I got Walton a little higher, but
yeah, I got Walton higher too. I got Walton at 64.
Yeah, I mean, I think I got Walton even higher for the accomplishment, but nonetheless, so you guys want to do George at 73?
George at 73 is fine.
How do you feel about that, Jules? Or you didn't really against it?
I'm not against it. I think that's fair.
Okay, and we can get into it for 72, 71, and 70. All right, Jules, who do you got at 72?
I have George McGinnis at 72.
Okay. I don't even have McGinnis on my top 80.
I
So,
do not have George McGinnis either.
okay,
Okay,
let's
I
go.
can concede.
You got it 72. Well, hold on. Let's hear your argument for it. Try to persuade us. Let's hear your argument.
Convince us.
So George McGinnis, again, another ABA guy. I think I'm probably the first one to say I think that 1977 run on the Sixers is pretty bad, but I think everything prior to that, him being an intricate guy, I believe on the Pacers with Mel Daniels being a really good rebounder. I believe that George McGinnis is continuously being a forgotten about player because of what he did with the NBA. I think where he was in the ABA standards when it comes to being a mid-post rebounder who can for a little bit and provide offensive value is actually like a little bit ahead of his time. I think he created a lot of opportunities for those Pacers teams to dump it down to him and create some like DHOs that I was able to watch and DOAs that are creating half-court sets of why those Pacers teams in the ABA were so good, along with, again, Mel Daniels, which is, I think, very valuable amongst itself. I just think and again, I can concede with George McGinnis being off the list. If we want to evaluate him as an NBA player, again, there's no argument against that. But I think George McGinnis should be here because his accomplishments in the ABA and what he's being able to do with a really good Pacers team throughout the several years that he was with them.
I just don't think he does it for long. For me, he just doesn't do it for long enough. After the ABA, what's he got, like 3-4 years, like maybe? Obviously, he's part of that Sixers team that goes to the finals with Irving and Doug Collins. But my problem is, even if you said the ABA, and he's good in like the late ABA, which is like the best ABA, right? So my problem is with McGinnis is I don't think he does it long enough, and I do value like later NBA more than earlier, later ABA more than earlier ABA, but it's still too much time in the ABA for me without as much in the NBA for me to put him in the top 75.
And that's fine. I can completely, like you said, that 77 run, rewatching that, I think that's horrible of what he's putting up, what he's like. I'm seeing him miss rebounds, not being able to box out, all this kind of stuff like that. That's just inexcusable. So I'm completely willing to concede the George McGinnis stuff. I just think his valuability just comes with him peaking in the later ABA years. And I thought that should be at least noted here, personally.
Well, so we got Weber, then we got Zoe, then we got Gilmore, right? That's our three.
Yeah, Weber, Zoe, Gilmore. I had Dame. Where I have Dame 72.
Yeah, Dame 72. Yeah, and then we still got PG. PG's an option. He's an option. So yeah, that's my recommendation for, and we're on 72, right?
Correct.
We're on 72.
Yeah. Well, because my initial 72 is Tony Parker. Where do you guys got Tony Parker? You got him higher, lower? Where do you get?
I got him much lower.
I don't have him in my top 75.
I don't have him in my top 80.
Yeah.
Man. Okay. So we can drop Parker. Like I said, I'm not in love with Parker right there. So we can drop Parker. We can drop Parker, and then I guess we kind of got to decide between PG and Lillard. I'll go to you. I'm with either or. I like Lillard better than PG, but he teaches.
I have Lillard ahead of PG. I like Lillard better than PG as well.
What do you think, Jules?
I would. I can concede and put George here because of the recency stuff. I mean, Lillard's recency stuff isn't necessarily great either, but at the same time, I think that Lillard's peak is underrated. And even though we're talking about the accomplishments in the playoffs for Paul George, I think as an individual player with a lesser team is still making Western Conference Finals, I would still value that floor raising instead of the ceiling raising. So I I can say George is ahead of Lillard here. I can concede to that.
So we're going George at 72.
Lillard George then Lillard.
George and Lillard in 72 and 71. Okay. Well, then that takes me to who I got for my last two positions is, and then we got to decide who's in there. So I had Chauncey Billups at 71, and I had Bob Lanier at 70.
Okay.
So who do you guys got? Because that's so wait, we have Weber at 75, right? We have Zoe at 74, Gilmore at 73, George at 72, Lillard at 71, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then I got Billups and Lanier right here in these two groups. Who do you guys got at the position 71 and 70?
I had Gilmore at 70. I had Alex English at 71, actually. You have English higher? Yeah. I mean, I just think English is, in his prime with Denver is like 25 to 28 points per game, has a 30-point per game playoff run to the conference finals. I think is a very underrated player because he's one of those other guys, right, in that era, kind of like a Paul George, kind of like a Dame Lillard, right? And so if you have Alex English higher, I think that's great. But I had English. Yeah, I had Alex English and then Gilmore.
So we can bounce both of those because we can move English a little higher. And then what about you? Who'd you have for 71 and 70?
Like I said, I had Weber at 71 and Lillard at 70, and we already have them. So my only other name that I conceded was George McGinnis, but everybody else
we got to go between my two. Who do you guys like? Who do you guys like at 70? Where do you guys got Billups and Lanier?
I like Lanier. I would take Lanier over Billups.
I would personally.
Even with the Finals MVP, I would take Lanier, but I could go. I'm not married to it.
So I have both of them off of my list, but I have Chauncey a little bit higher than Lanier by like 2 spots. And what is moving me with Chauncey is all those Eastern Conference Finals appearances and the impact of what he's being able to do as soon as he gets starting minutes and implemented into certain systems and finally leading some winning culture wherever he essentially goes until he kind of falls off a cliff in, was it 2011 or so? So
after 2012, he really does. He got injured with the Knicks that one year, and then he came back with the Clippers, and he was playing 2 guard, and then he got injured again, and then he was just he wasn't really the same with the Clippers either. But hey, can we sidebar real quick? I just want to know, what do you guys think about the latest Chauncey Billups news and all that? Since we got on the subject of Chauncey, I just want to know what you guys think of this because I have my own thoughts on it, and I want to see what you guys think first. What do you guys think?
I think it's a byproduct of the insidious entanglement between major sports leagues and the gambling industry that's been happening. Gambling's, some people like to gamble. That's fine. But what concerns me, I think, is some of the partnerships that are happening between the league and the gambling industry. And Chauncey Billups, I know he's not tangentially involved, but there's actually like a pro poker player that was talking about this a few years ago, that Chauncey was running card games. And he said these games are not above board. For a guy like Chauncey Billups, who we all agree should at least be in this range, had a Hall of Fame career, is literally in the Hall of Fame, a Finals MVP, 7 straight conference finals. He's probably, I would wager wagers is probably a poor choice of words given the topic, but I would think I would say he's probably like $100 millionaire, right? And so I don't understand it. I don't understand why he has to do that. I don't understand why Terry Rozier needs to allegedly fake an injury to make more money. I don't understand any of this at all. I think it's too bad. I think there's, probably going to be some type of reckoning. I think at the very least we've seen sports apps have started to honor, if a player gets injured and you do a prop bet on them, they say like, oh, okay, well, your bet's been voided. So maybe this is a time for a bit more reining in of this unfettered like approach to gambling and its entanglement with the major sports leagues as a whole.
Jules, what do you think?
I agree. I've never been my biggest proponent of this kind of stuff is when all of these endorsements and all of the gambling stuff starts to show up on like the sidebars in NBA stadiums that the cameras physically are seeing. They're starting to put patches of endorsements of all this kind of stuff. The NBA is trying to get more money and all this kind of stuff. I think it was at that set point in time is starting to go downhill. And now that we're seeing a whole bunch of people getting stuck in these gambling debts, Chauncey being one of them, with the Porter's brother just the other year, pleading guilty for what he was doing. It inevitably needs to, I think, stop in the NBA. They need to find some type of hole to where they're taking stuff out of it completely, because I think it skews what the media is viewing as well, because as consumers of a product, we will only base our opinions off of what we're betting on and what we're seeing. And if we don't hit on a person doesn't hit our bet, then okay, that person sucks. Like, or he's not good at basketball anymore. And it's like, it skews the mind of how we view basketball instead of physically just watching it and just the pure entertainment of watching a good sport. So I think that I've never been a gambler in my life, and I will never will be. So that's just my thing.
Yeah, as far as like the gambling itself, I would say I am a moderate gambler. If there's something I'm really confident on, I might bet on it like once, but usually it's with friends, people I know. You know, I've never really placed like online bet.
And that's fine.
It's more so the camaraderie with people you know, and letting them know how you're so much better than them. That's why you have their $5 bill in your pocket, and you're going to frame it every time that they come into the house to let them know that it's theirs. As far as that goes, I don't understand why being, like I said, especially in the Chauncey Billups scenario, not only that, he's in a lot of business dealings with Kevin Garnett. Him and Kevin Garnett do a lot of business dealings too. So he's also, Kevin Garnett's got a shitload of money. At one point in time, he was the highest NBA paid player ever through contracts.
The lockout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Career earnings, all that. I think he earned, I don't know, close to $500 million or something, like hundreds of millions of dollars, definitely, not to mention all his endorsement deals with Adidas and all that kind of stuff. So I don't understand what the motivation would be to get involved with the mob. There's going to be nothing good that comes of that, only bad things that come of that. Same things with like a Damon Jones. You played, you coach, you have all these avenues to make money. I don't understand why that's the case, that you need to do it. And same thing with Terry Rozier. I know at one point in time he was making 25 million a year, something like that. So I just don't understand what the credibility of it. Even after the NBA, there's all kinds of monies overseas, all kinds. There's money in China, there's money in Greece, there's money in Spain, there's money in Brazil, there's money everywhere. Being an analysis, starting your own podcast, you just have so many available options that you can do. Why you would do that, I don't know. Stupid. They're stupid. For lack of a better term, they're stupid, and nobody told them. I've noticed this a lot with a lot of people. There's a lot of people that are stupid and they don't realize they're stupid, and that would be one of the exact examples right there. So all that. So that's my take on it. Anybody disagree that they're stupid and they don't realize they're stupid?
No.
Because that's some stupid shit.
That's dumb shit.
Dumb shit.
As far as the basketball goes with Chauncey, I'm not thinking about it more. I've been thinking about it more, even given the conversation we just had, which has nothing to do with the product he put out on the court as a player, or maybe it did, who knows. But I would say lean more towards Chauncey than Lanier actually. I do think, even though Lanier I think is a better peak, he's like a 23-11 guy, and like Chauncey's really just like a solid player who does everything that you need to do to win well, and makes, but he still makes 7 straight conference finals, and still makes 7 straight conference finals, 2 NBA finals, and is a finals MVP. Even that year in Denver, he is the leading score. He is the not leading scorer. He's the leading vote getter for MVP, not Carmelo Anthony, in that 2009 season. So I think Chauncey Billups. If we're deciding between Billups and Lanier on this list, I think Chauncey Billups is actually a better candidate for the list.
I was gonna say, I was just looking at like career accomplishments, trying to defer against the two, and Chauncey has more NBAs than Bob Lanier, but Bob Lanier has more MVP shares. And if you value the competition at said position during the time, like I said before, a rated set of centers during the time period, and unfortunately, Bob Lanier never really gets a chance to outshine anybody, while Chauncey is being able to make all NBAs with said point guard to the league, Jay Kidd, Steve Nash, and so on and so forth. So if you value the all NBAs and all defensive teams, you'll go with Chauncey. But with Bob Lanier, he has more MVP shares and I think a little bit more All-Star appearances than Chauncey. So I'm not. I would again still lean towards Chauncey, but just to put those out there.
Well, I want to say about this Lanier from 71 through 79, he's 26-14, 24-15, 23-13, 24-12 with 5 assists, 21-12, 25-12, 25-11, 24-9. You know what I mean? So Lanier's just one of those, like we said, forgotten players because of the 70s and who there all was. But Lanier put together a marvelous 70s. That's why I have him one slot over Chauncey. I don't care. I think each of them are top 75 candidates. That's why they're on the list. But like I said, I'll concede to either one of you guys if you want to go Lanier or Chauncey. I just want to make the argument for Lanier, how dope he was from 71 through 79.
I think Chauncey.
I would say Chauncey.
You can go Chauncey.
Yeah.
So there we go. So they're 70 through 70 through 75. Next month we will do all the 60 through 69, and we'll be moving forward. Anything else that you guys want to talk about? Bring up. We got a few more minutes if you guys want to knock it out. If not, we can end the stream early.
I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we're good, and I know this is going to definitely heat up for the next month because there's going to be definitely some arguments for some of the stuff going forward. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, I'm still going to argue Lanier. We're just going to put Lanier higher. I'm still going to be arguing.
I'm fine with Lanier being the next guy up for sure.
Yeah, I'm still arguing Lanier. And I think the next guy up for me is I think DJ's the next guy up for me. I'm not sure who's the next guy, but I know he's right around there. You guys got DJ in your top 80?
I don't.
I do not.
I do not.
I haven't.
You know what? That's a travesty for both you motherfuckers, okay? We got one Boston, one Sonics fan, and neither one of you guys got DJ. And I'm the Suns fan. I'm the only one showing him love, and he had the least amount of success with me.
True. He's been on all of our it's true. He's been on all of our teams. Yeah, but I can be convinced, all NBA first team, all defensive first team, obviously 3-time champion, finals MVP.
I think he's the best player on the 79 team, him or Sigma.
Yeah, sure. I would agree with you. I mean, those are the 2 Hall of Famers, Sigma and Johnson. You got Freddie Brown and Gus Williams too, but they're not all. They were just all stars. They weren't Hall of Famers. No, my next one was Thurmond. Actually,
same here.
Yeah, I had Thurmond. So
there we go. Thurmond. He had the body of a Greek god and the hairline of Al Bundy. So anyways, that's it for us. We'll catch y'all next week. We'll be back same time. Worse than ever. I'm Tony. That's Jules for Hoops. We're out. Remember to bless the ones who broke you, because at the end of the day, they're the ones who built you.
Oh, Canada.
Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
No, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.